I want to talk about speed, or sometimes called quantity versus quality. But I don't really like that designation because I think then it favors the quality aspect. Another way to put it is slow versus fast. This is your pipe date for Sunday, May 19th, 2024. But first, some quick updates. I released a remixed and remastered version of my song 17 Years. It's about the brood X cicadas that emerged here in Virginia in 2021, also released that year. And now the cicadas are emerging again. These are different broods. One is in the south and one is in the Midwest. So I'm hoping to catch some sort of trend, but the track sounds much better. I have a lot more skills now as a music producer. So the new version is cleaned up considerably. You can find the links in my bio to listen to it. One thing that I didn't know that kind of annoys me is that I couldn't actually change the release date. So it's in my discography, it's like all the way back in 2021, but it is a new track. I just wish it was at the top. So let's talk about speed, and in particular, I'm talking about this in the context of, as a musician, do I try to get my music out quickly and have more releases, or do I spend more time with the production and the recording process and kind of packaging everything nicely? And I feel like I've done both with this project. When I started, I used to release a new song every month. And that was a great way to build up a discography, to build up a catalog and a repertoire, to get experience with my own personal recording and production and promotion and social media. It allowed me to iterate quickly, learn and apply new lessons. But there was a point where I had to admit to myself that my tracks weren't getting any better. I think after 15 or so releases. Now, don't get me wrong, they did get better between the 1st and the 15th, but my progress and growth were slowing. So I stopped everything. I slowed down. I spent a lot of time doing research. I spent more time with composition and arrangement. I got some new equipment. And then when I started recording again, I went slowly. And I was much more meticulous and methodical. And the first release after this project is called A Broken Music Box, and I think that you'll hear a big difference in my tracks with that release going forward. So taking that time definitely paid off. Moving slowly, my tracks did get better, and they continue to do so. But I will say that moment, that time in this project was excruciating. It was a lot of hard work. I was incredibly bored working on a single song for months. And I would torture myself over tiny details that, in the end, probably didn't have a big impact on the final release. But I do think it was a good thing to take that time and slow down. And now I'm looking for that happy medium. I want to move quickly, but I want to have a high quality. And I think the challenge is, as I have been learning how to do my own music production, what are the things I should focus my attention on? I'm slowly learning what is an insignificant detail and what is something where I should stop, slow down, and get it right. And I think that's a skill that only comes with experience. So where I am now is I'm excited with the tracks that I'm working on again. I feel like I'm not torturing myself with insignificant details and moving at a sloth's pace, but I'm also making the decisions where I feel this is not good enough and I need to focus on it versus release something that I'm not ultimately going to be happy with. Now, I've heard two different perspectives on this from two independent artists that I trust, and I think they have very good perspectives. And one of them claims that perfection is killing art and that you should move quickly because if you don't, you are missing out on opportunities to write the next great song, which I believe. I mean, that's 100% true. Is if you're only focused on one song for months, then you could be missing out on amazing songs that you could be writing while you're like listening and agonizing over that track you've heard for the 300th time. And another person has said that when you go into the studio, if you're going to build an album, it's better to have fewer really good tracks when you go into the studio versus trying to cram in too many and then sacrificing quality. Now, of course, the key paradigm here is one of these artists is a DIY music producer, and the other is paying for professional studio time. But neither approach is wrong. think the key is figuring out what works for you, and it always depends on what your goals are. For me, my goal is to enjoy this process and have fun. And for me, taking too much time on a track trying to make it perfect when you're really making changes that are negligible, that's not really fun. On the other hand, releasing tracks that you know could have been much better, when you know it's not your best work and then trying to promote that, that's not fun either. And I'm slowly trying to figure out what my sweet spot is. And I feel like I'm getting much closer to where, whether my tracks are great or awful, I'm getting them at a consistent level of quality. And I'm having fun. And if I'm having fun, you're having fun. Anyways, thanks for listening on this very long video. And what do you think? Would you like to move faster or slower? Pipe out.